This is a video web assessment for Dr. Christopher Pokabla.
We're starting at Google, where everyone looks for everything. And we're going to look for you in three key buckets. First is your name, also known as your brand. Second is your service line, the type of doctor that you are. Third, we're looking for conditions and treatments. Now, these are ever broadening circles, but you want to make sure that you show up in all of them because your competitors just might.
And we're starting with the MD version of your name. I put Chris in here, but we could do Christopher Pokabla. And see, Google's going to tell us what way people like to search for you. If I back out a little bit and start typing your name, notice that as I type it, Google's telling me in order how people are looking for you. They are looking for you by your name. They're adding Memphis onto it. And then if I type a space and do the MD, not really getting a lot of people looking for that because it didn't jump up in there. So let's try with doctor. What we want to do is show you the different versions of it. Some people even put your middle initial in, but the results are pretty much the same. So in the doctor version of you, we've got Memphis Ortho Group, your page coming up, which is good. Health grades, we're going to talk about your ratings. They could be a little bit better. Another health grades, U.S. News Vitals, WebMD, UCompare, etc. These are all rating and review sites. Some rating and review sites show stars, which is good, except in this case, WebMD.com. Let's take a look again at the MD version of you. I'm going to delete the doctor. Now we see basically the same thing that we've got. There's that WebMD again. So this is what we're seeing. And if I localized the search where we saw your name and Memphis, same things. Actually, WebMD moved up one. So you always want to check these variations in your name to see what your patients are seeing. So let's look at what we've got here and what we need to do about it. Having your website come up with your web page in the #1 spot is ideal. And so you're doing great on that. Having health grades come up as #1 or #2, not as good as what we want. What we want to have is more content on your website about you showing up in these positions. We're going to show you how to do that. And on the health grades, this rating of 3.6, you've got 17 votes. That's not a lot of votes. If you've got a bunch more 5s, this would trend upwards. Patients look at scores 3.5, 3.6, that's okay, but they would rather see 4s. They feel a lot better about 4s, 4.2s, 4.5s, etc. But 3.6, believe me, is better than a lot of folks that are getting. Now, let's look down here. Nobody wants to be a 1-star, but you only have one review. So one of the things that you're going to want to do, and I'm going to show you how to take care of this easily, is you're going to want to get one more 5-star review, ideally 2. That's going to immediately pull you up to a 3 rating with 1 5-star review. If you had another 5-star review or 2, then we're getting into the 4s. So this is an easy fix, but it's right there staring you in the face right now. We want to get that done. Another place that people tend to look, and this is actively promoted, are the stars and reviews on your Google My Business page. Memphis Orthopedic Group has not claimed their Google My Business. I can tell by a couple of ways. Your name is backwards. The other way I can tell is it's asking me if I own this business. So this is something you and all of the doctors need to do. You need to claim this. That way you can fix your name. You want to change doctor to orthopedic surgeon. You want Google to know what category you belong in. And lastly, on website, we want to point to your page, not just the main page. Google creates these automatically. So, and it's up to you to claim them. It's not a very difficult process and something you absolutely want to do because it will help your overall web presence. So I'm going to take a minute and show the ratings on here. Going to look at you, on health grades, you've got 17 responses. Health grades just cleaned out everything from 2011 and beyond. So if you had any in there previously, they're all gone. You only have the last 4 or 5 years. Now, when we click through on this patient satisfaction and look, we see a big number here, 3.6, and we see some stars that are going to give you an indication of what people like and maybe not so much like about what's going on in the office. The front desk usually is a contributor, but you're getting some pretty good scores up here. The total wait time, not horrible, 60 and 30 minutes. Now in here, this is where people are going to get a little particular about things. And so you can see that we've got a couple of things about decisions, explaining medical conditions, etc. This is where you can use your website to bump these scores up. You can do that by referring people to your website and to the content on your website to help them better understand their conditions and their treatment options. Going back and taking a look at the WebMD, we can see that this WebMD, they borrowed heavily from health grades. And we see here that they've got various and sundry things in here. This is just a terrible rating system. They're only using a couple of questions to ask on here. So it's going to be real easy to overcome and bump this up. What I want to show you is a quick solution for you to fix your problem right now. You can go to ratestars.com/register.
Welcome to Rate.
And I'm going to pause my commercial there. You just simply put in your name, address, etc., or you can ask one of your reps to take care of this for you. And what this will do is deliver a card-based solution. Basically what happens is we'll create, and we're the creators of Rate Stars, we'll create the links to these sites. And I think right now we want to focus on WebMD's reviews. We want to bump those up. You'll create your account on there. We'll do that for you. And then your rep or we will print out cards for you. And you can print out as many of these as you want. Have a good experience with the patient, hand them a card. They will then go to ratestars.com, put in your ID, and immediately be directed to WebMD. We're going to load most of these up because they are viewed, even though you don't necessarily see stars. We want to drive these ratings. RateStar is a free product, and what it is the little brother of Practice Rate, which is our premium product. So Practice Rate helps collect reviews for you. So let me show you an example of how this is beneficial. I'm going to pull up a doctor in Nashville, and you see that just like you, he has his website's personal page on his website showing up, but different from you, he has stars on his website and big numbers, 157 votes, 4.9. That's great. And it also brings up additional pages with him. And then see, there's the health grades down there. His health grades, he's got, and this was lower. It was just like your situation, lower. We built that up. This Practice Rate product delivers on-site and off-site reviews. Would love to tell you more about that. But for now, to immediately address your need, I would recommend let's do the card. Let's start handing some cards out to some friendly patients, and let's get rid of that 1 star. Won't take long. I'd bet you could get it done within a week. You'd have much better reviews. Would love to talk to you further about it. Now let's look at how you come up in the search results when patients are looking for a doctor like you, and that's called Service Line. Shoulder specialist, Memphis, Tennessee, is one of the most searched for terms. I started typing in here, and again, Google tells you everything. I started typing shoulder, and look, you can see shoulder specialist near me, doctor, shoulder specialist doctor apparently is a thing, but if I start typing Memphis, you see shoulder specialist, Memphis, Tennessee, followed by just Memphis, followed by shoulder surgeons. So shoulder specialist is how you want to primarily refer to yourself. Scrolling down the list, I've got orthomemphis.com, Campbell Clinic, Tabor Orthopedics, and Tennessee Orthopedic Clinics. We do not have the Memphis Ortho Group. They're not showing up. So why aren't they? Well, let's look at your website just for a second. I'm on your page, and we've got your name on here. And when I come up here to the top, this little tab is what we refer to as the title. This is not your title. That's just a big word on a page. This is actually your title. And notice it says Dr. Christopher M. Pokabla, Memphis Orthopedic Group. When we go back to Google and we look, see that? That's where it comes from, not what's on your page. So Google looks at that little tab and determines what is this page about. So if you want to be found for Shoulder Specialist Memphis, we need to have a page called Shoulder Surgeon Memphis. Now I'm going under Services. Somewhere in here is shoulder, right? And so if I'm looking on that, here's shoulder, and I'm going to click through to that. And now I'm looking at the shoulder page. So let me show you two things that are missing. Here's shoulder, and then I have a little pipe character, and I got Memphis Orthopedic Group. I don't have Memphis, Tennessee. I don't have the word specialist. On the page itself, I don't have the words Memphis, and I don't have the word specialist, surgeons, or doctor. I have physician down here. So you have to put content in context to what you want to be found for. This is something that all of the doctors at Memphis Orthopedic Group are going to be losing out on because the content is not optimized for search. So that's something that we could talk a little more in depth. I'm focusing on shoulders right now, but this applies all the way across the website. This graphic that I looked at, that I clicked through, and it got into a category with shoulder conditions, and we've got some odds and ends of content. That's good, but it's not that good because it's not showing up at all. And it's also not really optimized and localized like it should be. The people that built your website, and it's a good looking website, but it's just grabbing generic content or generic titles and sticking them up here. It hasn't really been optimized. That's the big gap I see for you being found in your service line. This 3-pack that we're looking at is something we also should talk about. How do we get on this? This is something new that Google has delivered. Earlier, I talked about your Google My Business. This is how you start literally getting on the map. Got to take that Google My Business, get everybody signed up, and now we'll start seeing a little bit of population on here. And once we get that content and search engine optimization done, you'll start showing up here. Let's take a look now at the largest search bucket, and that's treatments and conditions. Reverse shoulder surgery would be a treatment option that I might search for, and I definitely would localize. So take just a minute to tell you about this. If we were looking at shoulder pain, separated shoulder, bicep tears, any type of condition, people typically do not localize. They type separated shoulder. Google helps you by pulling out what they consider best of class content. So we see separated shoulder, Mayo Clinic is pulled out right there. If I type separated shoulder Memphis, which isn't really something I do because I'm looking for information about my condition, not necessarily I only want to hear from people in Memphis, but that might happen. And we see that if we do that, we've got various content that shows up. But what we do look for is treatment. So whatever it might be, reverse shoulder replacement is one that popped up, and we localize it to Memphis. So now when we do that, what comes up? Ortho Info comes up because it's a well-respected site. And then we've got Campbell Clinic, but this is talking about an outpatient hip replacement. But apparently somebody said something about reverse shoulder replacement on that page. Down here, we've got some other things. So you want to try these different things. I'm going to do reverse shoulder surgery. which is one of the search terms we were doing. Got that hip replacement, double AOS, global med, whatever it is, a doctor in Atlanta. So it's terrible. So let's see if we can find any of the content we've got on there. So I'm going under services, and I'm looking at, I'm gonna stay with shoulders. I'm gonna look under here about what are some of my shoulder conditions, and I've got something about back to school, lighten your load, sprains, strains, and other injuries. I see tendonitis, bursitis, stress fractures. So you see that we've got a lot of content on this page. I mean, it just keeps on going and going and going. You don't really want everything to be on a single page. You want it spread out because I don't really know what I'm looking for. So we'll do bursitis. How about that? Bursitis. And when I do that, bursitis Memphis, I've got some content that comes up, but I'm not getting, I've got Memphis Orthopedic Group hip conditions came up. So apparently we did get found under bursitis, probably because, look, it's right there, close to the top. And so that kind of validates what we're talking about, but we were trying to find something in shoulder, no luck. The content, you've got some content in here, but it's not optimized. It's not laid out appropriately. This is where I think you can get more patients being found in those buckets they're searching for. We looked at the service line. We're not even on the map there. And on your brand itself, a couple action items for your reputation and for the Google My Business that you need to jump on right away. Love to talk to you some more about this and some of the other things I've seen. Just ask that nice person who delivered this video web assessment to set up a call at your convenience. I thank you for your time, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.